Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to data science with Python. So basically in this course we are going to talk about the basics of data science. So this part of the course is really theoretical. We are going to talk about the theory behind data science and everything that you guys need to know about this subject. So let's start. Alright, so basically what is data science? So when we ask someone what is exactly data science or how it works or anything else, well, it looks very fancy and the word data science looks really fancy. But basically data science is simply the study of data. Yes, you have a lot of positions that can exist in data science. We're going to talk about them a bit later. But basically, data science is really the study of data. So data science can starts as early as the recording part. So let's say, for example, you have a project and you want to find out a solution to a certain project. So the first thing that you want to do is recording the necessary data to be able to answer to the problematic inside of your project. So basically, let's say, I don't know, you want to know how many, well, you give a survey to some people, and those people fill up the survey. So let's say there are people who fill up the survey and I don't know, 100 persons say they like the color blue. And let's say of those 100 persons that like the color blue, I don't know, 80 persons said that they like hamburgers as well. So you can link up hamburgers with the color blue and say in majority of cases, people who like the color blue like hamburgers. So you can, for example, create, well, this could help you for marketing, for a lot of purposes, but this is basically data science. Like, this is a really basic example of what data science can do. So the study of data can start as early as in the recording phase. Recording phase could be, for example, giving people questionnaires where they, for example, surveys that people can take. So for example, do you like the color blue or do you like the color red? And once again, those surveys are linked up with your problematic. So very important, you at first need to have a problematic that you want to solve, and for this problematic you need a certain data from certain people, and you will give them, for example, surveys. It could be surveys, it could be just ask them questions. There are plenty of ways that exist to be able to record data. The next step would be storing the data, because once you have the data, you need to store it somewhere. You don't know if you have the data physically. If, for example, it's on papers, you need to store this data, so you need really a storage room. If it's gonna be stored on the hard drive of your computer, if it's really huge amounts of data, maybe it's gonna be stored somewhere on a server, maybe it's gonna be stored on the cloud. So data science is really all those elements together. Next thing would be analyzing this data. So once again, analyzing all the analyzed parts. So you want to take the raw data and you want to transform it into data that you can use to be able to fix your problematic. So basically this part is really important, and in majority of times people know only the analyzing part, but they don't know the storing and recording part. But all this is part of data science and of the study of the data. Data transformation, so the second part right here is just another part of data science. So basically data transformation could be part of the analyzing part right here. Basically data transformation is part of data science, and in this case this could be extracting the right information. So when we're talking about data science, as I said, we work with huge amounts of data, so you can have millions, if not billions sometimes, datas of people's, depending of what type of problematic you want to fix. For example, we're talking about marketing or specialized ads. For example, when Google is able to give you like perfect ads for you, it will collect data on you, and with those patterns and with all the data that they collected, they took this raw data and they transformed it, and after that they are able to know exactly what type of advertising they will give you. So really extracting the right information to be able to, after that, transform it. Gaining insight and useful clues to run efficiently a project. Once again, right now I'm talking about Google, but it could be anything else. It could be, for example, in the manufacturing field. For example, I don't know, if you collect, if on a machine, for example, let's say the data is collected on real time. Let's say, for example, data is collected on real time. Let's say we spot a problematic each time that I don't know, there is there is a certain piece that is created, or there is 100 pieces that are created on this machine, and there is a problematic each 100 pieces. Well, with data science, we are able to spot this problematic and say, okay, each time that this machine creates 100 pieces of something, we need to make maintenance on this machine if we don't want it to break. Then data science can also be used to predict certain outcomes. So once again, data science can be used in plenty of fields, and predicting outcomes could be, well, for example, in the banking world, in the financial world. It could be as well in the manufacturing world, in marketing. So as I talked a bit earlier, right now, this could be part of it. So for example, giving specialized ads or ads that are perfect for you, this could work as well. So this is for what is data, where data science is used. Data science is used in many fields. Those are just some examples. So for example, for online businesses or e-commerces, which is really popular right now, we can say that data science could be used to recommend products. So product recommendation, better marketing as well. If, for example, you need let's say a certain business wants to market the right products to the right audience, well, it will help them. So as I said, if, for example, you go on Amazon right now and you start Googling a certain product, so you write down a certain product on Amazon, well, Amazon will take this data and will give you products that are recommended based on your past researches. So this is all data science. Healthcare, for example, you can use data science in healthcare in a lot of ways. So for example, virtual assistant, let's say, for example, there are assistants that are virtual, not real right now, and this could be an amazing way to to use data science. It could improve medical researches. Since we have a lot of data, we have a lot of knowledge about a certain subject. For example, if we see that this medication this medication tested on 1,000 people help them with this and this and this symptom, for example, this could be pretty much a good thing. For image analysis, so in this case picture analysis, this could be a really good thing as well in the healthcare world. In the banking industry, for example, for fraud detection, it's not an employee that is sitting in his office and looks for frauds. It's complex algorithms that are created and that works for fraud detection, and it's all about data science and machine learning, all those stuff, to create credit scores, for example, and to give the right product to the consumers. Yeah, there is a little mistake right here. So giving the right product to the right consumer, especially in the banking world, sometimes it's it's not really easy, because some customers have millions of dollars, other customers don't have money at all. So it's really it's really different, and you can't offer a type of product that you offer to the other one. For transports, for example, GPS optimization, in this case it's going to be, let's say, for example, you want to go from place A to place B, how to go the fastest way possible, and the really real-time optimization. So in this case, it's all about data science. For example, it will know that there is traffic at this place, and it will not suggest you to pass by this place or this place. Self-driving cars could also be an example of how data science can be used, because once again, this is a huge amount of data that is collected to make the car driving alone. Personalized virtual assistant, once again, it's like the healthcare part. For manufacturing, as I said before, we have problem detection that could be really an amazing way, and the problem prevention, as well as automation. So let's say, for example, you want to automate your production. It's possible with data science. So for example, with all the data that is collected, you are able to hire engineers. Data engineers will be able to create machines that will automatically work and will automatically, let's say, for example, work on huge scales. So let's just take a basic example. Let's say a huge business that is, I don't know, putting water inside of bottles. So it's all automated. There is no one person that is like putting water in each bottle. It's really a huge machine that is automated because of the use of data science once again. In finances, it's really used in algo trading, so algorithm trading, sorry. And this is all algorithms that are created based on past performances of a certain stock or ETF or whatever. And it's based on all this past data that algo traders are able to create programs that will trade by themselves and really control the risk, create all the strategies around their trading style, which is pretty much a very cool thing. So those are some uses of data science, but it can also be used in engineering. It can also be used in agriculture. It's used pretty much everywhere, and it's really part of our lives right now. All right, so next thing is about the data scientists. So basically, what are the skills that you will need to have? So for me, once again, this is based on my personal experience. You need the 3 skills, even if you don't necessarily have them now. You can work on them. So basically, logical thinking and mathematic understanding. So data science is all about mathematics. So there is a lot of numbers. There is a lot of, you work always with numbers. So if you're bad in mathematics, well, I'm sorry to say that, but it's going to be a bit hard for you. So really having a good mathematic understanding and logical thinking, because mathematical understanding is linked with logical thinking. So you need to understand basic logical concepts, and with those basic concepts, after that you can put them on higher and higher skills and create something that is pretty cool. But just understanding the basics sometimes, well, the moment you understand the basics, you will be able to go further and further. Understanding the business world around us, because data science is not just a thing that you play with. Data science is really something that you will use to solve real problem issues. An example, let's say for example, you want, the first step in data science is really to find out the problematic that you can solve. You will not just collect data to collect data, because this don't make sense at all. This would be raw data that will not be used, and doesn't make sense just collecting data for collecting data. If you collect data, is to improve something, is to reach a certain goal or a certain objective. This is why you need an understanding of the business that is around us, the business world that is around us, because in the majority of times the use of data science would be done inside of business worlds. Interest in technology and programming. Data science nowadays, mathematics is the first part, but programming and technologies are the second part. As I said, data science is not only in the analyzing part where you analyze numbers. It's it starts way from the moment that you guys give surveys, for example, and you collect data and store data. So you need to understand all the technological parts around this. What are the things that you can use, for example, to store your data, how you can collect your data, and after that, all the techniques that you can use to analyze properly your data. Yes, the more you work with the data science, and the more you analyze data, the more you will create your own techniques, and you will have your own ways to analyze data, and you will see it's not something that is that complicated. At the end of the day, it's just logical thinking. It's 100% logical thinking, honestly. Data science jobs, you can have a lot of data science jobs that are not listed here. I just listed 3 examples. For example, data analysis, database administrator, or business analysis. Those are the jobs that come to me quickly right now. But you could have, for example, data engineer, you can have data scientist, you can have business analyst, you can have statistician. So there are plenty of other jobs that are linked with the data science, which is pretty cool. So you'll see this field is pretty cool. So the basics of data. So right now we are gonna talk a bit more in depth about the basics of data and the data life cycle. And basically in this case, there is 6 steps that we need to follow for data. So just for you guys to understand how exactly it works. So it's pretty simple. The first step would be, let's say, for example, you are in a business, and the first step will be identifying the problematic that you want to solve. So let's say, for example, I don't know, let's take just a really basic example. Let's take our example of hamburgers. You want to create a new packaging for your hamburger. So let's say, for example, you're working for, I don't know, a hamburger store, and you have thousands and thousands of consumers, and you give them, I don't know, surveys. Let's say it's online surveys, and they fill up their surveys. So you have your problematic. Your first step will be identifying your problematic. So your problematic is, I want to create another packaging for my hamburgers. Then the next step would be finding a way to collect or acquire data. So you can collect yourself your data, or you can ask a business to acquire data for you. Yes, you would need to pay a certain fee, but once again, if you are a big corporation, you don't really care about paying those fees, because at the end of the day, you will make profit because of all this research around it. So the second step will be finding a way to collect this data. So the first step, well, the first thing that you need to understand here is what data you need. So basically you need to understand the data that you guys will need to collect. Because if, for example, you want to change your packaging, you will not ask your consumers, do you like it when it rains outside? It doesn't make sense. So for example, you will ask them, hey, do you prefer blue or red, for example? So they will answer the question. Next step would be thinking about where I can find this data. So once again, you can acquire it. You can buy it from, let's say, another business already did this research. You can buy it from the business. Well, you can buy it from the company that did the research for that business, or you can go and collect the data by yourself. And then the most efficient way to obtain and store this data, because once again, this is part of the first step. So you'll think about a good way to, well, an efficient way to collect this data. If you want to collect it by yourself, you'll think about an efficient way to collect this data. It could be, for example, giving surveys to your consumers when they come to your restaurant, or it could be sending them emails where you tell them, hey, you'll get a free hamburger if you, for example, fill up this survey. All right, step 3 would be data transformation. And in this case, you want to put your data into the right format. And you will clean your data. So let's say, for example, you have surveys that are not filled up to the maximum. You want to clean this data, all the missing values, you want to take them away. You want to compile all the data, so put everything together. All the corrupted data, all the duplications, you want to take them away. So let's say, for example, someone filled it up the survey like 5 times because he wanted 5 free hamburgers. Well, you will only count it as one person. And removing unnecessary data. So let's say someone just wrote, I don't know, anything inside of his survey. Well, you just take him away as well. Next step is when you have all your data ready. This at step 3, you have all your raw material. So in this case, you have all your raw data. Now it's time to understand it and transform it and create a solution to your problem. So once you have all the raw data, you want to understand this. So you will make hypotheses. So let's say, for example, you will say, hey, that's the thing that we talked about before. So hey, 100% said they love the color blue, and 80% said they like hamburgers. So basically, if it's this way, this means that everybody who eats a hamburger, or the majority of people who are eating a hamburger, likes the color blue. So basically, maybe this could be a good thing to have a blue packaging for my hamburger. So this would be making a hypothesis, and at the same time understanding the data pattern. So we get our data. So we have our data, and we understand that this brings us to this. And this is where you really need logical thinking. Once again, this is a really basic problem. Sometimes they're way more complicated. So this would be for the 4th step, really understanding the data. So hypotheses, you will make them there. And once again, understanding all the patterns around the data that you have. Step 5 will be modeling your data. So once again, you will create a model around this data. So in this basic example, it will be, for example, creating packages. So let's say you create a blue package in this case. You want to evaluate the efficiency of your model. So let's say, for example, you create those packages and you give them to your consumers, and if they're happy, well, this would be a good way. So once again, you will deploy, but once again, since our example is really simple, let's say we stay with this example, you will deploy but on a small scale. So let's say, for example, you will deploy 1 day a week. So you will have your new packaging 1 day a week, and you will give it to your new consumers. they will be able to see it, they will be able to use it, and who knows, maybe it works perfectly. So when all this works perfectly, so you are in your step 5, if you see that your consumers are happy, your sales are going up because you change the packaging of your burgers and they're blue now and everybody is happy, it's time to go to the step 6, which is launching the solution or launching your model on a larger scale. So let's say you have few restaurants, so instead of launching your model on only one restaurant, you will launch it on more than one restaurant or inside of all your restaurants. The best way to do this is really going step by step. So when you reach the step 5, you launched your model or your solution inside of a small scale. And the next thing would be inside of a larger scale. So you always want to limit your risk. So never launch at a whole scale straight up, because what can happen is that you could have problems or anything could happen, and then your solution will just break. So you launch on a small scale and you slowly grow your launching process. And if everything goes the right way, this means that you can just launch it faster. So those are the 6 steps inside of data, in the basics of data. Those are the 6 steps that we need to follow. So really from finding the problematic to launching the solution. Once again, those I gave a really basic example. So this is really for the basics of data. Right now, we will jump inside of the course. We are gonna start talking about the tools that are used inside of data science. And you'll see basically this course will teach you all the basics about this subject, and you will have a lot more knowledge when this course will be done. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class.